Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another edition of Lovin Daily. I'm your host, Jonathan Chilia, joined by my co-host, Yannick Poch. Today is a very special day. First of all, happy 420 to all the viewers, and happy 5th birthday to Lovin Malta. I cannot believe it, I don't know where the time has flown, but Lovin Malta officially turns 5 today. So to celebrate, we've got a day full of amazing content. So definitely be on Facebook, be on our socials. Stay tuned, we've got a lot of awesome stuff coming out today. Apart from that, at the end of today's episode, we've got a very special interview with FŻL President Georvin Buġeja to discuss cannabis reform amongst other things. Now, here are your 5 headlines for today. Malta's cabinet has rejected giving pardons to the Giorgio brothers and Vince Muscat. The daughter of an infrastructure Malta advisor was given over 100,000 euros in direct orders in 1 year. A dog stranded for many days in Fomeria was rescued by the Civil Protection Department. Fly Dubai has postponed all flights to Malta, and the UEFA Under-19 European Championship in 2023 will be hosted on the island. Yannick, you want to take us away with the first story?
Sure. So Malta's cabinet has rejected pardon requests by the Giorgio brothers and Vince Muscat, all of whom have been accused of carrying out the murder of Daphne Caruana Galizia. Yesterday, government announced in a statement that it had rejected the pardons on the basis of the advice of the AG and the police commissioner. Vince Muscat has already been granted one pardon and has turned state's witness in the state's case against the Giorgios, amongst others. And he had requested a second pardon in order to reveal information about a number of other crimes, including the 2010 HSBC heist. The Giorgio brothers were offering information, were offering to reveal the identity of a second mastermind in the Caruana Galizia murder, as well as information on a number of other crimes. However, Cabinet yesterday announced that it would be rejecting all of the requests, saying that this was being done both because of the advice of the AG and the police commissioner, and also because it was ultimately in the national interest.
You know, this is quite a big development. You know, a lot of people were waiting to see what would happen on that front. What's interesting to note is, you know, Daphne Caruana Galicia's family, the Caruana Galizia family themselves, you know, they've been opposed to giving pardons this entire time. They've argued that, you know, giving them the pardon is just, you know, allowing criminals to walk free instead of doing proper police work and investigation. So we'll definitely be following this for any more developments. Moving on to the next story, quite a big story that popped up yesterday. The daughter of an advisor within the infrastructure ministry was given over 100,000 euros in 2 separate payments over 1 year, according to new reports. So Adriana Zammit, who is the daughter of Jesmond Zammit, who works within Ian Borges' ministry, was given 108,542 euros throughout 2020, according to Times of Malta. Now, these payments were made, there were 2 payments. They were made over this 1 year. The first one was in October 2019, before Adriana had even graduated as a lawyer. And the second one was for a 6-month consultation agreement, which was for 43,000 euros. Now, a spokesperson for the infrastructure ministry has said, listen, Zammit was initially was offered a work placement, which she refused, and she was subsequently offered a 3-year job at the ministry. However, they did not speak about the actual payments themselves.
Not bad for a first year on the job. Considering most lawyers make probably, 18 to 20K in the first year? That's a good start. A pretty good start. Our next story is it's quite a touching story about a dog that was rescued by members of the Civil Protection Department on Sunday. And this beagle somehow found its way to Fomeria. It was spotted by a group of hikers. It was seeking shelter under a rock. It appeared to have been there for a number of days. The hikers gave the dog some food and water and called animal welfare. And luckily for the dog, 2 firemen actually went down and brought the dog up with a stretcher. So the dog's okay now. It's a very, very sweet story and a happy ending.
I mean, the images, you know, are actually quite heartbreaking. The dog's adorable. I don't know if it's a puppy. He looks like quite a young dog. He looks very lost and very scared. So what these hikers did was exactly what you should do in this situation. You know, if you have food or water on you, see if you can offer it to the dog at the time, and then call up animal welfare, get the experts in to come and save him. So happy ending here, no injuries, and I'm sure the dog is, resting and doing much better than he was doing yesterday. Moving on to the next story from the aviation industry. Airline company Fly Dubai has suddenly postponed all flights to Malta until October. They said they're doing it as part of a reduced schedule. The announcement was quite sudden. It caught passengers by surprise. So Fly Dubai has offered them a one-year voucher, a voucher to be used within 1 year to make up for the lost bookings. We spoke to a representative from the airline who said, listen, the company is moving to a reduced schedule, obviously amidst the pandemic. Now, let's be very clear. Malta, Europe, the world is entering the second year of the COVID-19 pandemic. The aviation industry is definitely one of the worst hit industries. So Fly Dubai is just one of many companies doing reduced schedules, among other, cost-cutting services. I can imagine we're probably going to see some more too, right?
Yeah, I think it's to be expected the pandemic is sort of being controlled, but the different countries will have different rates at which they kind of open. So there's a lot of uncertainty, I guess, for airlines trying to schedule flights to different locations. So hopefully we'll get some more stability as the year progresses, and who knows, maybe even get to go on holiday quite soon.
I'd love to go on holiday. Before we jump into the next story, I just want to remind you of yesterday's COVID numbers. There were 60 new COVID cases, which means that right now active cases are at 614.
So our final story is Malta will be hosting the 2023 Under-19 European Championships. Yesterday it was announced that Malta was selected by UEFA to host the tournament. It will be Malta's second tournament after hosting the Under-17 Championships in 2014. MFA President Bjorn Vassallo on comments yesterday after the decision said it will provide Maltese football a great opportunity to project itself beyond the country's shores. The matches are expected to be played at Ali, the HIP Stadium and the Gozo Stadium, so quite a mix of locations. Quite looking forward to it.
That's great. The fact that they actually included Gozo was actually really, really good. Now, this is great news for Maltese football fans. It's a great opportunity to see young and upcoming talent. The next Messi, the next Cristiano Ronaldo in Malta training. So this is super, super news, and I think football fans need it after the whole Super Europe League debacle of yesterday. That brings us to the end of these 5 stories. Now we're going to cut to an awesome video right now celebrating 5 years of Lovin. Stay tuned, because after we come back, we've got an interview with Georvin Buġeja, FŻL President. And a quick reminder, if you have not yet signed up to Lovin Digest, I don't know what you're waiting for. Lovin Digest is your daily email briefly summarizing all the important news and analysis from the day direct to your email. So, sign up to it. You can find it on our website. Super simple, and you're going to get the latest news and updates straight to your email. Now we're going to cut to a quick video, and stay tuned for the interview right afterwards.
In Malta, we don't say.
welcome back. We're here with Georvin Buġeja, FŻL President, and we're going to be speaking about the public consultation that the Labour Party is currently undertaking regarding the cannabis reform. As you know, the government a few weeks ago announced and made some proposals on the way it sees the legalization of cannabis going. And a few days after, the Labour Party actually set up its own public consultation. Georvin, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What was the reason that the Labour Party opted to have its own public consultation? I mean, it's government has embarked on a number of reforms in the past, but the Labour Party hasn't always felt the need to have its own consultation after. What's the reason? Is there a feeling that perhaps the reform hasn't gone far enough?
I tend to disagree. I mean, Party Laborista is an open party and is open to consultation every single day. And this is not rhetorical, it's the Labour Party, it's what happens within the Labour Party. With regards to cannabis, yes, we launched a public consultation within the party structures and open to public, and anyone who has any feedback, any suggestions, any opinion can forward it to info@partitlaborista.org. We're looking forward to that, and yeah.
But isn't it the case that the FZL was a driving force in having it added to the 2017 manifesto? We've been discussing it for 4 years. And there is a feeling out there that the proposals made are half-baked, in fact, is one of the terms that has been used. Is this a part of the reason why we're having it, and what do you seek to achieve, and kind of are you willing to go against kind of what government has proposed and say, listen, our consultation has found this and this is different?
I agree on the first part of your statement that FZL was a driving force to continue reforming this important part of our laws, but I disagree on the other part. We welcome the government proposal, we welcome the government white paper, and we are seeking to proposing our way of how it should be done. This is an open public consultation, an ongoing consultation that government has launched. Government launched a white paper and not a draft bill, and that is why it is open for consultation, so people can suggest. It sets the vision, it sets the principles where the government wants to go, and the government wants to hear from the general public their opinions, their ideas, how it should be done.
One of the points of criticism is that the current white paper leaves out perhaps the most important aspect of any legalization, which is how one procures it. Will the Labour Party be looking to address this? Will you be making proposals about this, or are we going to have another set of proposals that leave out the most crucial aspect of this reform?
We've mentioned this in our press conference some weeks back. We will be looking into it, and we will also be discussing. As I was saying, we have our ideas as well. We've put them forward internally, and we will be publishing our ideas very soon.
So you have ideas about how procurement should work?
Yes.
Could you share one of them with us? Like, for example, over the weekend, Cyrus Enger, the Labour MEP, said that he believed that social clubs. Is this something that you've discussed? I mean, presumably this discussion has been ongoing quite a while now. It's been 4 years.
We've discussed this and many other ideas with different stakeholders, with Relief, with Caritas, with SETA. We've had a number of consultation meetings with a number of stakeholders. We've also discussed as FZL with the other political party youth branches. Unfortunately, one of the main branches within another political party did not even acknowledge our invite and did not participate. Another youth branch was within the same parameters of their party stand, of where their party stands. So we have discussed a number of options. We definitely don't want that our youths, our people, our nation is in touch with criminals and is in touch with pushers. So yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's as we say, it's the most important part. So it's been 4 years.
And we're here.
And we're here, but like it seems that it seems that kind of the government wants to kind of to get the mileage from saying we're legal.
If it was for the opposition leader, we wouldn't be even here. So
Yes, I know, but I mean,
it is not. I mean, let's see this. It is the courage that is driving this reform. The courage that the government has, the courage that our youth branch within a political party had, and to put forward such a position. If it was for Bernard Gregg and the Nationalist Party, we wouldn't be here, because it is they base their suggestions, they base their opinions, their ideas according to polls.
Fair enough, but I mean, can we really call it courage when you consider that? I mean, really,
we're here before the general election now, so it is quite courageous to pick up such a controversial subject and discuss it.
It is, but arguably we've made no proposals on how the biggest part of it, which is...
Well, we have a proposal that is up for public consultation, and we're discussing.
Okay, and is it the case that because, so again, I mean, it feels like as we said, it's missed maybe a few quite important aspects to it. Is this just being done because it was pledged in the electoral manifesto and kind of maybe elections around the corner now and
no?
Want to get it?
We believe in this reform. We believe that we should have a legislative framework that protects responsible users, that makes kind of puts forward a legislative framework where one can procure safely without being in touch and in contact with any criminal. So yes, it is needed, and that is why it is a courageous proposal, because we are not being afraid of being judged in some way or another. We just want to make things right.
And as FŻL, sorry, I just blanked.
It's okay. La bella della diretta.
La bella della diretta. So you wouldn't agree that this is just a smoke screen that was kind of...
of course not. Of course not. I could use the partisan way of replying to your question here and saying that Bernard Gregg thinks that youths can only discuss cannabis. It is not a smoke screen.
But going beyond that,
if it had to be a smoke screen, I'm pretty sure it should have been any other proposal, but not cannabis.
Going beyond Bernard and looking at kind of what has been proposed, does the FԶL have, for example, do you agree with the restrictions that have been suggested? For example, one of the proposals is that you can grow a plant at home, but this can't be visible to the public. To most people, like for example, if you read the white paper, the first 15 pages, I think, are all about how cannabis is less harmful than alcohol. How it debunks myths about it being a gateway drug. Does it make sense to kind of force people to have to hide? Like, if we're accepting that this isn't as bad, do you feel, as the FZL, even based on your internal discussions, that it makes sense to have to make people hide at home? Like, it's a plant at the end of the day. How is it meant to grow without sunlight?
We definitely don't want to normalize the use of cannabis. After all, it's another substance.
But if we're saying it's less dangerous than alcohol, and alcohol is normalized, isn't this kind of... aren't you giving some people...
Is it okay that alcohol is normalized then? I mean, we do have people who abuse from alcohol, no? And we do have people who have problems with this abuse. Let's be realistic. We don't want to normalize the use of cannabis. We just want to protect the users from being in touch with criminals, being abused in terms of the price of the substance, the product they're buying. I mean, it is all about protecting the users. We don't want to encourage the use, of course not. I mean, but we do want to protect the users from being in touch with the criminals, being in touch with the underground market. Yes, we want to ensure that protection.
So you don't feel it's kind of a bit of a not double standard, but as I said, if I'd like to have
it's a matter of public health, after all, no?
No, but if I want to drink a beer, for example, at the beach, I'm allowed to. Don't you feel that the people that
you're not allowed to drink near spaces? For instance, you're not allowed to drink in public, as far as I am concerned, as I am aware. So,
But I mean, it's clearly not enforced. So are we saying that we're not going to enforce this in the same way, just so it'll be equal, and people have equal rights ultimately?
but it is a subject that we definitely don't want to make people confused about, or in some way or another. Alcohol may bring about many problems, and
Yeah.
it is not okay to consume alcohol in a massive amounts. Okay, so we want to send out, we want to inform, we want to educate. Maybe it was a problem that education was not as holistic as we want to make education holistic in terms of cannabis. It is important to inform, educate people about the pros, the cons, about how not to become addicted in some way or another.
Okay, but I mean, so and I totally agree with you, but you should clamp down on the kind of bad behavior, I suppose, if someone wants to. If we're basing this on kind of responsible users. Do you think that there's a problem with someone being able to, like, does it make sense to force people to have to, like, stay inside in their own homes?
Does it make sense to force people who don't want to smoke or be in the presence of people who smoke? In general, tobacco, cannabis, does it make sense?
I mean, but it's the standard that we use, so kind of
Is that standard okay then?
That's not up to me to say, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's about having equality. If we're saying that we recognize kind of someone's right to use something responsibly, then shouldn't they have equal?
It is quite a huge debate. It is definitely an interesting one. But yes, we can keep on arguing the same way on and on.
And how has the feedback been so far? As in, has the response, has the Labour Party encountered pushback? Or is it generally positive?
There's feedback which is positive. Most of the feedback is quite positive. There are some concerns which I can understand.
Any of them you can share with us? Kind of.
For instance,
does it look like it's going in the same direction as governments?
As one a parent should be concerned about having his son or daughter being able to grow cannabis at home. Should they be concerned? That was one of the concerns which I personally encountered when we started discussing this subject. But that is why we need to educate people. That is why we need to inform them. That is why we need to give the right information based on science, based on facts. And that is what this public consultation aims for as well. No, I mean, to see where the people stand and, of course, their opinion on how the legislative framework should look like.
So the concerns at this stage, I guess, if I understand you correctly, are mainly people who still are afraid of it, and not so much people who feel that
who genuinely have concerns about the subject in which we're discussing right now. So I understand their concerns, and they're able to put forward their ideas, and we look forward to discussing them.
And what's the timeline we're looking at? So when do you plan to make proposals?
Well, at the end of the public consultation. The public consultation ends on the 11th May. So before that, no. Before that,
you're going to present a set,
yes.
Your own set of proposals to government. How will it work, even for people who don't really?
The Labour Party deputy leader, the president of the Labour Party, we were discussing the feedback we're receiving, and we will be putting forward our proposals in the coming weeks.
Okay, just similar, related, but a bit of a different question. An election is around the corner. What will the next civil liberties issue that maybe even as the FZL you'd like to take up, and what can we expect?
Good question. There are a lot of issues which we would like to take up, which we'll be taking up. We have a very interesting project coming up in the coming weeks as well. We've been working on it for the past year, and I'm personally really excited about it. But maybe we'll have time to discuss it in a future Lovin Daily, no?
Maybe.
Rest assured that the Labour Party will not top being the Progressive Party. And let me translate this to Maltese. Alla ħares nifqu aħna bħala Partit Laburista inkunu il-Partit Progressiv dan il-pajjiż u l-Partit li jtiġib il-bidla. Għax nafu li l-bidla ma ssirx kieku, nafu li kieku dik il-bidla lanqas biss tiġi proposta jew diskussa. Għaliex ħadd ieħor jibża milli jiddiskuti idejat illi ma jkunux popolari jew għall-maġġoranza. Ġifieri li kol ħadd ieħor lanqas biss għaddejna l-Unjoni Ċivili fil-passat, għaliex astjenew. Dan hu l-moviment progressiv, dan hu l-partit li jġib il-bidla u ma jibżax jiddiskuti il-bidla u li jwettaq il-bidla. Dik hija l-aktar ħaġa importanti għax tista' tiddiskuti ħafna imma ma twettaq xejn. Aħna qegħdin hawnhekk biex inwettqu l-bidla.
ħajkonna proposti li ħajkunu fuq libertajiet ċivili, ġodda li ħajkunu.
Dan il-Partit tal-Libertajiet Ċivili għalla ħesle.
And the PN has said that it will be proposing a manifesto for youths. Is Labour also thinking of having something similar?
Alla, il-Partit Nazzjonalista imdorri forsi jagħmel daw it-tip ta' stand. Ġifieri rajna fejn kien hemm opportunità mal-Kunsill Nazzjonali taż-Żgħażagħ ftit ġimgħat ilu qal li jagħmel laqgħa ma kienet laqgħa ta' nofsija u ma ħallix in-nies kollha jitkellmu. Kienet din anke ġiet kwotata minnaħa ta' Lovin Malta. Jiena nħalli l-Partit Nazzjonalista jagħmel ix-xogħol tiegħu. Jaf x'inhu jagħmlu internament, jien m'iniex parti mill-Partit Nazzjonalista, gbur ħafna li parti mill-Partit Laburista anzi u li President taż-Żgħażagħ tal-Partit Laburista. Aħna ħankunu qed nibqgħu u ħankunu qed nassiguraw li dan il-partit jibqa' id-dar naturali taż-żgħażagħ Maltin u Għawċin. Li kieku ma kienx il-Partit Laburista ma żdetux l-istipendju, iż-żgħażagħ ma jitilgħux tal-linja b'xejn, l-istudenti ma jitilgħux tal-linja b'xejn, ma hemmx il-First Time Buyer Scheme, ma hemmx diversi inizjattivi oħra li qed jiffaċilitaw il-ħajja taż-żgħażagħ u żgur li aħna bħala Partit Laburista fil-Gvern ħankunu u anke bħala Partit Laburista li issa ħajqrob għal sena d-dieħla għandna elezzjoni ġenerali, let's face it. Ħankunu qed nuru kif dan il-partit jibqa' jirreġenera ilu nnifsu. Llum il-ġurnata għandna amministrazzjoni tal-Partit Laburista li hija żagħżugħa fil-maġġor parti tagħha. Għandna kandidati żgħażagħ fosthom il-kollega ħabiba tiegħi Naomi Kija li kienet President ta' din l-istess sfera illi ħadkun qed tersaq għal din l-elezzjoni ġenerali. Għandna kandidati b'saħħithom oħrajn żgħażagħ illi ħajersqu għal din l-elezzjoni ġenerali. M'għandix dubju li l-Partit Laburista ħajibqa' jirreġenera lilu nnifsu, għamilna dan mill-Gvern u aħseb wara bħala partit b'mod sieħ kif ħankun qegħdin nagħmlu.
Biex ndur fuq soġġett daqsxejn ta' forsi kurrenti, żewġ affarijiet li ġew il-bieraħ. Il-bieraħ pereżempju rajna l-istorja li tkellimna dwarha fil-headlines dwar il-direct orders li jingħataw il-tifla ta' konsulent tal-Ministeru tal-Infrastruttura. Bħala FŻL anke fl-isfond tal-konsultazzjoni li qed issir fuq governanza, tħossok komdu taħseb li dan huma prassi li għandna nibqgħu għaddejjin bihom fil-pajjiż.
Jien ma rajtx il-kuntratt per se ta'
Insomma, jekk kienu l-każ li hemm.
Però jiena li nista' ngħid minn dak li esperjenzajt ftit tal-xhur ilu, naf illi kien hemm min ħareġ b'attakk sħiħ. Ġifieri mhux ħanitkellem fuq l-ebda każ partikolari li semma mod riċenti. Ħanitkellem fuq membru tal-eżekuttiv tiegħi, Carlos Zarp, li ġie attakkat għaliex huwa parti minn board illi fil-liġi hemm li jrid ikun hemm żagħżugħ li jmexxi dan it-tim ta' żgħażagħ illi jresaq quddiem bħala proposti. U kien hemm deputati tal-Partit Nazzjonalista li attakkaw il dan iż-żagħżugħ għax huwa parti mill-FŻL. Issa ħanitkellem fuq persuna. Appuntu, ma nixtieqx nitkellem fuq dan il-każ għaliex huwa każ li rajna l-bieraħ m'għandix id-dettalji u ma nistax nitkellem.
Ħajpotetik li spiritu kien ngħidlek xi ħaġa.
Ma tantx nħobb niddiskuti fuq b'mod ipotetiku, nħobb niddiskuti fuq dak li nkun naf fuq il-fatti kif ikunu. Naf li fil-verità min-naħa l-oħra għandek oppożizzjoni li żagħżugħ li huwa parti mill-eżekuttiv tiegħi attakkat qatta bla ħabel u reġgħu għamluha l-bieraħ iż-żgħażagħ iż-żgħirnet tal-Partit Nazzjonalista. Din hija.
Ħanpoġġilek mod ieħor, kellek ma nsemmux ismijiet li jekk jirriżulta li hemm xi ħadd li inti fl-ewwel sena tiegħek taħdem ingħatajt 100,000 euro direct orders għadek kirex mill-università. Nifhem dak li qed tgħid li inti ovvjament il-fatti ma trix tgħid tagħmel ġudizzju minn
argumenti ipotetiku m'iniex ħan niddiskuti fuq argumenti ipotetiku, jiena niddiskuti meta ikolli fatt qudiemi nkun naf il-fatti kollha nkun naf l-istorja sieħa.
Mistoqsija oħra tal-aħħar. L-istess, il-bieraħ fil-Parlament rajna attakk tista' tgħid min-naħa ta' Glenn Bedingfield kontra l-Kummissarju tal-Standards li għal ħafna bħalissa huwa qed jagħmel xogħol tajjeb kważi tista' tgħid waħda mill-ftit istituzzjonijiet li qed taħdem.
Naħseb l-istituzzjonijiet kollha qed jagħmlu.
Again, fl-isfond ta' konsultazzjonijiet li għamiltu ħabbartu l-mittidea, eżempju hemm policy forum fuq il-governanza. Tħossok komdu again bħala FŻL, bħala President, wara partit li għandek MP qed jattakka waħda mill-istituzzjonijiet li fl-aħħar mill-aħħar tagħmel xogħla.
Ma let's face it, Janek, l-MPs għammi m'għandix kontroll fuq il-membri parlamentari. Fuq l-ebda tip ta' membru parlamentari. Imma let's face it, I mean, jekk naraw min-naħa tal-oppożizzjoni wkoll, hemm membri parlamentari li jgħiduha kif iħossuha dak il-ħin, ġifieri, I mean, kellna kapi tal-oppożizzjoni li għamu jitkellmu kontra l-istituzzjonijiet sa ftit tal-ġimgħat ilu stess qalilna l-ex kap tal-Partit Nazzjonalista l-ġimgħa l-oħra jidhirli fuq l-Istazzjon Nazzjonali għal ġieħna illi ma jemmenx fl-istituzzjonijiet, ġifieri kemm ikera dik illi għandek segretarju ġenerali ta' Partit Politiku Ewropew. M'morniex lura, morna l-ġimgħa l-oħra.
Le, ma fis-sens dejjem imwieġbu mistoqsija biex ħaġa għamlu xi ħadd ieħor. Fiha nnifisha id-dejjem.
Fir-realtà, in-nies jaraw l-istampa kollha. U l-istampa kollha hija dik illi għandek ex kap tal-Partit Nazzjonalista, ex kap tal-Oppożizzjoni llum dan jirrappreżenta lill-Partit Nazzjonalista fl-aħħar mill-aħħar fil-grupp tal-Partit Popolari Ewropej bħala Segretarju Ġenerali għall-istituzzjonijiet ma jaħdmux. Kemm hija dik?
Taħseb li kellu raġun Glenn Bedingfield tal-każ, taqbel miegħu ngħidu hekk.
L-argument ta' l-Onorevoli Bedingfield ma rajtux, jiġifieri ħankun onest, kont għaddej b'ħafna affarijiet oħrajn. Imma jiena naħseb illi ejja nħarsu lejn x'approċċ irridu nibagħtu, ġifieri x'messaġġ irridu nibagħtu lin-nies. Jien naħseb illi fl-aħħar mill-aħħar it all boils down to this. Ejja nħallu u l-gvern dejjem bagħat messaġġ ċar, anke l-Partit Laburista kien ċar ħafna fuq din. L-istituzzjonijiet qegħdin hemmhekk biex jagħmlu xogħolhom u aħna nemmnu fl-istituzzjonijiet. Ikun x'ikun l-eżitu, nafu illi hemm ħadd ieħor illi idoqlu biss favur l-istituzzjonijiet meta dawn ikunu favurih, meta jkunu kontrih ma jaqbilx jiftaħ ħatta blaħbe.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll have you on with Double Amos biex tgħidilna fuq l-inizjattivi ġodda ħajkonna.
Looking forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching Lovin Daily. Good morning and have a good day. Thank you very much.